Okay.
What do you hate?
I'm just nervous.
Oh my goodness. Don't be nervous.
You're used to this. I'm not.
What kind of music are you going to have on the intro?
Huh?
What kind of music are you going to have on the intro?
I'm supposed to have music?
Oh, the intro to the podcast.
Normally I just did like a funny part and cut it and then
Perfect.
it opened.
Perfect.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the very first episode of HCSO On Air. We have a very special guest, our newly elected Sheriff Anthony Hippolito.
I love it. I appreciate the opportunity to come visit with not only our amazing staff, but with the Hays County community.
How does it feel to be Sheriff?
1 month in.
Yeah, you are.
1 whole month in. It's actually surreal. I'm not 100% sure that it's set in all the way, but it's been amazing for a variety of different reasons.
I remember my first day. I haven't been here that very long, but I remember my first day, and like you introduce yourself, and you're like, "If you need anything, let me know." And I had no idea that you were running for sheriff or who you were. I just kept hearing everybody talking about it, but I met so many people that didn't catch in my head like who you were.
Sure.
And then I think it was my second week, and you came back from campaigning, and like, I was like, campaigning from what? And you're like, sheriff. And I was like, oh no, that's embarrassing. But we're just here to kind of get to know you. People deserve to know our sheriff.
Yeah.
I mean, people know that you are the sheriff, but deeper meaning, like, I know you're a family guy, so we're going to talk about your interests, your favorite color, like just random stuff like that. Yeah, nothing too serious, very casual.
Yeah, I love it. Let's have fun with it.
So first I want to start off with, is it been what you expected?
That's a fair question. I didn't know what to expect. Being the sheriff of a fairly large county, but the best part of it is just the interactions with the staff and the interactions with the community as a whole. They have opened their arms and have welcomed me big time, specifically here in the building. I'm in a unique kind of situation because I did work here prior to. I was a deputy, and I started over 3.5 years ago, and I started just like any other deputy would start. I did patrol, and I went through their field training program, and I didn't tell anybody I was running for sheriff at the time. Over several different months, it was the worst kept secret in Hays County. But initially, it was me just coming in and being a rookie all over again, and learning and figuring out why I signed up to be a cop back in 1998. Right, so just brought me back to my roots, and I wanted to come serve in the city or the county that I grew up in. So. Again, to answer your question, I didn't know what to expect when I got sworn in on January the 1st, but this first month has flown by. I'm drinking through a fire hose, as you probably can imagine, because there's so many moving parts when it comes to a sheriff's office. But I have surrounded myself with an amazing team who they're doing everything they can to make it easy on me, and I can't thank them enough for it.
So I posted something online, and it was kind of a chart, and it was sheriff versus police officer, and it just gave the rundown of the differences. And I wanted to kind of ask you, for those who don't know, what does a sheriff actually do? You're elected, obviously.
Yeah, so there are differences between a sheriff's deputy and working in a police department, and being a police officer.
But then we have sheriff. But
then you have the sheriff. So the sheriff in a sheriff's office is the equivalent to the chief at a police department.
Okay.
So we do essentially the same thing. We're in charge of an agency. A police chief is appointed and hired by the city manager or the city council. The sheriff is elected by the citizens of the county.
Okay.
But essentially, we're all peace officers. We all tend to do the same thing. We all serve the public and serve the community. But those are the two major differences: is sheriff is elected and the chief is appointed.
And I felt like you are probably the best person to answer this, because I wasn't expecting it to blow up as it did. But there was a lot of questions. What is the difference between a marshal, a city marshal, or
A constable?
Constable,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So that's a fair question because during my campaign, I got that question a lot, right? So a constable is the person who is elected to run the constable's office. And the constable hires deputy constables just like a sheriff would hire deputy sheriffs. The constable's office, their main goal or their main mission is to serve civil processes, and they also provide a bailiff for the justice of the peace for their courts. Again, they are peace officers. They have law enforcement powers, if you will, but they tend not to be the first primary responders when somebody calls 911. The sheriff is that for Hays County. But the constables and the deputy constables can assist us. They can pull over cars and enforce traffic laws. Their mission is just slightly different than what the deputy sheriffs do.
Okay, well, those of you who commented on that, there's your answer.
There you go.
As I did not know. We're all learning together. So I wanted to ask, if you weren't in law enforcement at all, what would you be doing right now?
I would be probably a coach.
Really?
Yeah,
What would you be coaching?
Probably football.
Okay.
I grew up.
Daughters.
I do have daughters, and I did coach them.
Oh.
But I coached them in soccer.
Okay.
I had no idea what I was doing. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, I hated soccer. We made fun of soccer players.
I was a soccer player, so.
But my daughters love playing it, and I learned the rules, and I love watching it now. But if I wasn't a police officer, which I can't imagine not being because that's what I grew up around, but I would be a coach. That's something that I wanted to go to school for. I wanted to teach. I wanted to coach. I love high school football. I love high school baseball. And that's something I thought that I would be doing when I was 49. Right? So that's what I would be doing.
Very nice. So I'm going to ask you some icebreaker questions. But first, this was upon request.
Okay.
Are the guys ever going to get to wear cowboy hats?
Probably not.
No.
I've been asked that a few times.
You like your cowboy hats.
I know. I do like my cowboy hat.
Anytime I've seen you outside of work, you're wearing a cowboy hat.
So I do wear my cowboy hat at times, and I love it. But when I wear it, I'm in civilian clothes. Our uniforms, the way they are, I don't think a cowboy hat fits it. These are more tactical type uniforms. If we're wearing Wranglers and a white shirt like the Texas Rangers, then I would allow a cowboy hat, right? And I do allow cowboy hats to be worn by our detectives and other folks that wear regular clothes. I just don't think a cowboy hat fits our uniform.
No, I agree with you.
I mean,
it was upon request.
No. I've been asked more than once, and I know that's been presented in the past, but I don't think we're going to go that direction.
Has anyone gave you a nickname yet?
No, my nickname has always been Hippo for obvious reasons, right? My last name being Hippolito. That's kind of what I grew up being called.
So you like football. What's your favorite football team in the NFL right now? Also, Chiefs or Eagles?
I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to actually run away with it. I think they're going to be.
I hate to say it, but I think you're right. But I really want the Eagles to win. Yeah,
I think the Eagles, their offense is, I think, too one-dimensional, and they like to run the ball, and I think that's one of the strengths the Chiefs have is stopping the run, and I'm not sure they can stop Mahomes and Kelsey.
And you like to buy squares, right?
I do like to buy squares.
You get all
I never win, but I do like to support the cause, whatever that cause is. So yes.
So with the Super Bowl, you're a big family guy. Do you guys have any plans coming up?
No big plans. I just got back from Mexico in December. Yep. I took my family.
Oh, well deserved.
Yeah, so I felt it was important to treat them to a nice vacation because of what they had to deal with over the last 3 years, essentially. No family should have to go through that. That part wasn't very fun.
It's tough.
It's like I'm not a politician. I didn't know what to expect on the campaign trail, but politics is dirty. Politics is it's just mean, and people who've never met me publicly and talking about me and not knowing me, right? So
well, that's why we're here. We're gonna get to know you.
for sure. So yeah, that was the ugly part of it.
Yeah.
And this is the fun part,
Yeah.
right? Getting to
I
be
can't
the sheriff.
imagine doing that.
Yeah. So they deserved a nice vacation. I took them to Mexico. And we'll probably do something this year. We like to go to Colorado quite a bit. We have some friends up in Estes Park. And we'll probably take 1 or 2 trips up there this year. But nothing quite planned quite yet.
So outside of work, what does your typical day look like? Do you have any hobbies? Do you like to go, like, if someone likes to go bowling here on a regular basis, and he thinks he's really good?
He's terrible, actually.
He's actually not. But
yeah.
Do you have any hobbies?
You know, not really. It's been a while. I did play a lot of softball, but since I started campaigning about 3 years ago, I put all of that aside. I play golf very, very rarely, although I enjoy it. I like doing the scramble tournaments and hanging out with folks. But softball was my big hobby. I played law enforcement softball for 26.
And you didn't play against?
No, I didn't. I was asked multiple times to play, but
if we did again, will you?
I might play. But I was in the middle of the campaign. I didn't want to get hurt, and but that was my big hobby. I traveled around the state and the country playing law enforcement softball.
I'm learning so many things about you.
It was so cool. It was so much fun.
Okay, so summer or winter?
Summer.
Movies or TV shows?
TV shows.
Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah,
but I do like my movies too.
For sure. Popcorn
or candy?
Ooh, candy, chocolate.
I say popcorn. Okay, and then describe being sheriff in 3 words.
Fun, overwhelming, rewarding would be the 3 words.
Do you have any plans currently that you can share, or not quite yet?
We haven't. We've made some changes this first month, all minor changes. I think what the prior administration did, they did a lot of great things over the time that he was here. Over 14 years he was the sheriff, and I've known him for a long time, and he took me under his wing and mentored me and gave me some tips and tricks on how to run a campaign. But we've tweaked it because we're growing, right? The county's growing, the sheriff's office continue to grow. So we have to look at a big picture and kind of forecast what this place is going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years, what the population is going to look like. It's our duty as law enforcement to stay ahead of the growth as much as possible to maintain public safety. That's our job, right? Is to make sure our family and our friends can walk around their neighborhoods and not fear anything bad happening to them. So we'll continue to tweak. And it's not about this thing is wrong or right. It's about what we think is best for the sheriff's office. But I think it's also important to include folks like you and the other employees and get their ideas on what they envision the sheriff's office looking like, because it's not my agency, it's our agency. And it's important that we work together to build something that we're all proud of. So we're going to continue to grow, but we're going to focus on the culture. We're going to focus on the morale, and we're going to make sure that the employees that are here are happy, and continue to figure out ways to retain folks and recruit even more folks, because we have to stay ahead of the growth.
Now, you said growing up, you never thought you'd be a sheriff. So for people who are interested in law enforcement and say there's fear holding them back, like questioning themselves, all kinds of things, what is some advice that you would give someone who's interested but has not taken that step yet?
Always follow your heart, right? Follow your heart, follow your gut, and don't let anyone deter you from the path that you want to go down. Law enforcement is, it's not, to me, it's not it's a profession, but it's not. It's a calling.
Yeah.
Right? You have to really want to do this job and be happy doing it. It's about protecting. It's about keeping people safe. But it's rewarding. And I encourage folks who are even thinking about law enforcement is to reach out to their local law enforcement agencies, wherever that might be, We all have ride-along programs. We all have junior deputy academies, and we all have different ways to interact with the community. And that's where you ask your questions.
And we have
right?
Citizens Academy.
And we have the Citizens Academy. There's so many different ways that you can learn about law enforcement and get your questions answered. But what I tell people who are very serious about it is to get out and ride out with your deputies and your officers in your community. That way you can see firsthand what we go through on a daily basis. It's
I highly recommend.
much more than what you see on TV.
Yeah.
Right. And cops and robbers is a very small part of what we do. That's the fun. That's fun. Yeah. Right. But we do so many more things on a daily basis that people don't know that we do. And as first responders, we deal with so much.
Yeah.
Right. So it's important that you submerge yourself in that and learn as much as you can.
I haven't gotten tased or pepper sprayed yet, but you know what I did the other day?
What'd you do?
I put on a dummy for a canine.
Oh, I've never done that. See,
really?
You've done something I've never done. That's
Yeah, I did it yesterday.
Yeah. Did it hurt?
No. I mean, no. He did get my leg and just like the pressure bruised a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. I was terrified. Like before the dog putting on the suit and stuff, my heart was racing, but it was fine.
My luck, he would miss and tear my arm off. But there's not much better than watching a canine work, whether it be narcotic work or bite work. It's pretty incredible.
So that being said,
you have a lot of questions there, Miranda.
I told you I wasn't. Now I'm not asking you all these.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you.
Do you have any? So, I guess this is gonna get on the deeper side.
Let's do it.
Do you have any long-term goals as sheriff? And how do you plan to measure success over the next 4 to 8 years? And I know you said basically don't fix what's broken. Don't fix what's not broken right now.
Yeah, you don't want to fix. You don't want to if it's working. You don't want to just make drastic changes. I think as a sheriff's office or actually any organization, you have to continue to look at ways to get better. And that's what we're going to do. Whether it be
48 years, Hays County is going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. And I hope I'm here in 8 years. And I hope I'm here in 12 years because this is not just a one-term thing for me. For those that don't know, a sheriff is elected and has to be elected every 4 years. So every presidential cycle, we're going to be doing all over it again. Right. So I think there's a lot of things that we want to do as an administration. And I think it centers around ensuring that we keep up with the growth of Hays County. I think it's important because if you don't, that's when public safety is compromised. So we need to look at various ways that we can do that, whether it be looking at intelligence and being data driven, whether it be working with our analysts to figure out, what is the best way that we deploy our deputies on the street? What are the best ways? What are different units that we can create and become more specialized? And I think that's the direction we're going to go over the next 8 to 12 years. We're going to have to become more specialized, probably in a variety of ways, because that's what is going to be basically demanded for from our community, right? But I think the most important thing to me right now is to focus on the men and women who answer our 911 calls, the men and women who work our patrol shifts or our corrections shifts. We all, as police officers or as sheriff deputies, we sign up to be in a police car. We sign up to be in a sheriff's car. We sign up to take 911 calls. And we sign up to help the community. And that's what I think in my first term, I know in my first term, I have to figure out a way to continue to staff those patrol shifts. But we need to look at various ways to be able to strategize, to be able to put more deputies in a certain area in certain times.
Right.
And I don't know if that means we create a power shift so our shifts now, for those that don't know, are 6A to 6P and 6P to 6A. What I want to do is try to figure out a way that we can recruit and retain enough folks that we can create like a 3P to 3A shift, because I think, and I'm pretty sure we tend to get more calls there. We obviously get more calls in a certain time frame, right? That time is rush hour. That time is bar closing. That time, it just changes probably on a day-to-day basis. So we need to figure out, how do we deploy more deputies in the right areas and with the right numbers. The patrol is the backbone of any law enforcement agency, and I've been told that my entire career. Not all agencies treat it that way, because patrol is always the first unit to get plucked from to create different specialized units, and that's something that I want to avoid doing. And I think if we do that, our guys, our men and women on the streets, can be more proactive. They can make more traffic stops. And when you're more proactive and able to do more traffic stops, you're able to prevent more crimes and actually solve more crimes, right? So there's different ways that we need to look at. But over the long term, I think we can become more specialized. We need to continue to beef up our motor units. We need to continue to add personnel to our special services division. Our detectives are running, case to case. Everybody in this department needs more people, whether it be civilian or. So we need to look at various ways to ensure that they get the resources they need to be successful.
I agree. And from the day I've started, I noticed that we work pretty closely with our neighbor counties, or just like other departments in general, like Kyle PD. We work really closely. Do you plan on doing anything with them in the future, or, as you said, working on getting more patrol out there? Do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I think collaboration is the key to public safety, and that's something I campaigned on. Like, it's important to me, and it's important to the other police chiefs in this county to have that relationship and to be able to collaborate and work together. Because at the end of the day, we're serving the citizens of Hays County, whether it be in the city or the county, but we're also working the same criminals.
Yeah.
So San Marcos PD detectives could be working the same burglary ring that we're working, and we may not even know, unless we're having those constant communications and being able to talk on a weekly or monthly basis to make sure, hey, are we on the same page? Are we working the same people? How can we work together to ensure that these victims are getting justice? And collaboration is key to success.
And is there anything that you would like to put out there for the community watching this?
Yeah, I mean, like, I campaigned on a variety of different things. Obviously, public safety has to be at the top of the list, right? We all chose to either work or live in Hays County for a reason. I've been here since 1985, and I chose to raise a family here for a reason. And I think it's a wonderful, safe county. So I take it personal, right? I'm passionate about ensuring that you can walk to your neighborhood park. I'm passionate about you being able to shop at the outlet mall and not worry about anything happening to you. So public safety is paramount. I also ran on school safety, right? And our kids, our staff, our principals, our administrators should not be in fear walking into their school every day, right? That's not right. And I'm proud of our school resource deputies that we have here at the county. We're not able at this point yet to be in every school, but that is a huge goal of mine in this first term, is to get a school resource deputy at every elementary school in this county. So that's something that we're going to work hard for and try to get that accomplished because the kids deserve it, the community deserves it, parents deserve it. And so those two things are huge for me. And I just want them to know that I live in Hays County as well. My kids go to school in Hays County. I'm going to do everything that I can do to make sure that we stay safe. And I'll also promise, and I did during my campaign, about being transparent. When we fall short as an agency, I'm going to tell you about it, right? I'm also going to tell you about the good things we do, but at the same time, if we make a mistake, we have to be accountable to the public, and they need to know about it. And I campaigned on that. So again, I don't look at myself as a politician. I'm a law enforcement guy. And this is a profession I chose back in 1998 and something I grew up around. My dad was a cop for 30 years. So it's something that it's a calling for me, and it's something I take very serious because it's so rewarding. We see a lot of bad as law enforcement, but when we see a smile on a kid's face because we gave them, a badge, or we see a kid smiling because we gave them a high five, that's the rewarding part. Or someone in the county comes up and says, "Hey, thank you for your service." I take that serious. That's what's amazing about this county. There's so many people. I know not all, right?
There's definitely a lot of more love than hate.
Oh my goodness!
Especially on social media, which is caught me a little off guard.
Yeah, no, it's a special place. I don't say it just to say it. I mean that. And this is the only place in the world that I would run for sheriff. This is the only place I would put my name on a ballot to open up myself to crazy criticism. This is the only place I would put my name on a ballot to open my family up to the craziness of politics. And I do it, and I did it because of the love of this county. And again, it's not about political party. It's not about anything other than ensuring that every segment of this community is getting the service they deserve, and that they trust law enforcement. And that's my job every day, just get out in the community and ensure they can trust us.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad to call you my sheriff. You'll definitely be around again. I want to try to collab with you and Mr. Gary Cutler.
Yep.
Sir.
No, this is great. It's a great idea that you came up with, and it's important. It helps us, law enforcement. It helps the deputies on the street because we're opening ourselves up to the community, and that also helps with developing that trust and that relationship. So I appreciate the efforts that you're putting in. And it's not just, you're not just a multimedia specialist. So it's important for you to know what you're doing is making a difference, and it's making our lives easier because people are getting to know us. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. If you have any questions or want to know more about a subject, feel free to comment below. But stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to have a special guest, Mark Andrews, and we're going to be talking about fentanyl. And thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.